will commence at 7:03, January 22nd. Planning board meeting will commence with a roll call vote. Margaret Sweet,
Here.
Kevin Mello,
Here.
Kevin Estes,
Here.
Psychopatis,
Here.
and Chris O'Neill is here. First item on the agenda, administrative items, number one, approval not required, PANR 2317-1146 Old Fall River Road, Assessors Map 65, Lot 37. Christine?
Okay. This first one, I am not sure who is on to speak to this one. It's supposed to be a Chris Kelly who was working on it, who was the applicant's representative or the surveyor. I don't know if Christy is the.
Yeah, yep.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure before I begin. Okay, so this one here is an A&R. This is one that we had to continue from December while we were getting some information from town council regarding the Bergeron Lane frontage. So what this is it's one parcel that actually fronts on Old Fall River Road. It's 1146 Old Fall River Road. It's going to be split into two parcels. The second parcel that is going to be on the other side of Bergeron Lane, which is considered a lane that's been in existence for a number of years. I've gone over it with the fire department. They see it as frontage. There are numerous other lots that have been taken off of this in residences that have been built off of this lane. So town council has advised me we can consider this frontage. The surveyor and the owners went before the Conservation Commission and the Environmental Affairs Officer to go over the open space requirement for this, which we show on the plan. So they've made all of the revisions that we've asked. I don't know if anybody has any questions, but this one is ready and eligible for endorsement if you want to move forward in that direction.
Right away too. So
All right, awesome.
they can close quick.
Okay.
I'm not, Ron, I think you have yep, thank you.
All right,
Is there
so,
anything else you want to add to it, Christy?
Christy, would you mind, if you have any comments?
No, I think Christine kind of covered it all.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board members on this one?
So Christy is the one of the owners, I guess son or daughter. I'm sorry. Yes. This is a trust property. So we've been working on this for a couple of months, I would say. Overall, the frontage and the lot size requirements all meet current regulations.
Okay, my only question, Christine, I see some red sections on this current plan.
Right, so we did not.
Revisions.
Yeah, so those were the revisions that we had received. We did not receive the and most of them were minor in nature, just to make sure. We did get the updated plan today. We told them if we had it by noontime today. We went over it, we have confirmed. So the actual plan that you will see has the minor revisions that we requested.
Okay, so that plan is already in your office?
It's already in my office, yes, ready for endorsement.
And it addressed the issues that you had brought up in this particular plan here?
Yes, that is correct.
That given, any questions of the members?
I make motion, we accept this ANR as proposed.
Motion on the floor by Kevin Mello. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Nick Psychopatis. Any questions or concerns? None. Kevin Mello,
Yes.
Nick Psychopatis,
Yes.
Margaret Sweet,
Yes.
Kevin Estes,
Yes.
Chris O'Neill is yes.
So
Thank you,
Christy, what we will do now is the planning board members will come in to sign the Mylar, and then I will notify you via the online portal.
Okay.
You can come and pick it up, and then you'll record it at the Registry of Deeds.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Item 2 on the administrative items, approval not required plan PNR 24-1. 1115 Tucker Road, Assessors Map 153, Lot 6, Christine.
So this one here, we have John Romanelli on for this one, with Zenith, Land Surveyors. This is again a 2-lot, subdivision. It's more of a, well, it's, they kind of broke it down into a number of parcels and then they put the parcels back together. It is going to result in 2 lots. It was coming from more lots that had, different frontages and things like that. This was partly done before, with the addition of Andy's Way in order to give what is now on this plan shown as Lot 2, the required frontage that it needs. We had asked again for some minor changes with regard to this one as well. Those changes have all been sent to us, and I did get a plan this morning that just fixed up any concerns that we had. Again, the 2 lots that will result from this have the required frontage, the required area. I don't know if there's anything else that John, you would like to add anything to it or share a screen to talk about it? Because it is a little confusing on the plan.
It is a little confusing. It basically, Mr. Hool owns the house at 1115 Tucker Road, bought 2 lots that were basically considerably wetland lots on Creek Road, which is not constructed. And basically what he wanted to do is to bring those lots into combination of the 2 lots out front. So basically he's adding area, not a ton of upland area, mostly wetland area. But he also wanted to increase his side yard of his existing house. So if you on the plan, it's I don't know if I can share this or not. Let me see. Somebody, there we go. So can everybody see the screen?
Yes.
Yes.
So basically the house at 1115 Tucker Road, you'll see a 31.8 distance. That's to the new property line. He's taken that little rectangle and adding it to his current house lot. And Andy's Way, which is a 1-lot wavered subdivision, he's adding the area. These 3, parcel C and map 148 lot 50 are being combined into the new lot 2, which is Andy's Way. It's basically just straightening it out into a nice rectangle shape. Same thing with lot 1. He's taking parcel B, which is not a buildable. All those parcels down here are not buildable because of wetlands and the road is not constructed there, and combining it into these lots. Again, they all have adequate frontage and area. There was a note to be added, which we did add for the A1 that was filed last June to confirm the wetlands, and that's basically it.
Okay, thanks, John.
Sure.
Any questions or concerns from the membership? Christine, no changes to this plan or in taxes. Those have all been taken care of.
Any
right?
changes that we had have all been made, any requests that we've had for changes have all been made, and we have the Mylar in-house ready to go.
We do, okay, all right.
Yep.
Just for clarification, Andy's Way is a separate lot that will be the driveway, if you would, to this new lot 54, correct?
Yes.
Okay,
So
so
the
we won't get
planning board
lost.
back in the day used to do these little dead end street type of things to give people frontage. They used to allow this. So this is one of those from before.
Right, I vaguely
created-
remember this, that
Okay.
we thought this would create 2 separate lots on lot 54. Is that the intent, or it should at some point that separate lot just be merged into lot 54 also?
I'm sorry, I'm confused on what you're asking.
Well, Andy's Way, that little lot that's labeled Andy's Way,
Yeah,
that was done so that you would have frontage if lot 54 were to be subdivided into two pieces.
no, you know
No.
that this needs the frontage anyway. This needed the frontage, period. It didn't have
Right.
enough.
Okay,
So-
so
It
should,
needed to have the frontage. I don't know if somebody will further subdivide this down the road. I don't even know if they're,
the square footage really isn't there, so,
right.
so that creates the frontage needed to build on lot
So there-
54. I
Yeah,
understand.
so there'll probably be a house built on this. There'll probably be permits coming for, you know,
Right.
to be built
My,
on it.
my only concern is that ownership of Andy's Way. You know how sometimes we do a house, we do a subdivision, who owns the land, is there a HOA, that type of thing. Andy's Way will only service lot 54.
Right, right. And that has been in existence. They're not changing any of the frontage with regard to this. This is all just changing the back end of the property or.
Correct. No, no,
where-
and I'm not questioning that. I'm
Yeah.
fine with everything. This all makes sense. I just want to make sure that, 5 years from now, if someone comes in to build a house or buys that lot separately, that they also buy Andy's Way. And that's what I've never liked about these, creating frontage like this. Sometimes little things like that get forgotten. That's all.
So I didn't check if there was like an HOA or a covenant or anything like that. I don't have any knowledge of that. John, do you have any knowledge of?
I don't, and I can find out, but I don't have any knowledge of that.
No, it's just a question for clarification right now.
Yeah,
I'm fine with
okay.
everything that's
Nope.
here, so. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
It's a pleasure of the board.
I make a motion, we accept the A and R as presented.
Motion made by Kevin Mello. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Second by Margaret Sweet. Kevin?
Yes,
Margaret?
Yes.
Nick Cyclepatis?
Yes.
And Kevin Estes?
Yes.
And Chris O'Neill's yes. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
I will make sure, before you all sign it, that I pull out whatever paperwork we have from Andy's Way, just to verify, so that you all can see that when you sign it. But it meets the requirements for endorsement anyway. So John, we will let you know through the portal.
Sure.
Or ever put the application in, that when it's ready, everything's signed and ready to be recorded.
Great. Sounds good. Thank you.
Okay,
And just GIS, again, it's not the most reliable or up-to-date source, but it's got that cutout included as part of lot 54.
perfect.
Good, Christine?
okay.
Okay. That was our first screen share, and John wasn't a Zoom bomber, so that was successful.
Don't jinx us.
Right. Number 3, approval not required plan, PANR 24-2, 0 Tucker Road, Assessors Map 43, Lot 1. Christine?
So again, this is another A&R that is eligible for endorsement. This A&R is for the creation of lots A1 and 1A and 1B from one single lot. This one here, we had some minor revisions, and again, we worked that through with the surveyor, and we do have the revised plan in place in the office today. I'm not sure if Ross had put in the package the thing that we mark up and give to them, but we do have all of the completion. I believe that Richard Rayom is on to speak to this one. Lot A1 will ultimately, I'm sorry, lot B1, 1B will ultimately, it's almost all wetland, so
So
and
Lot 1B is the lot, obviously, in the back, closer
right,
to.
is the lot in the back, and it's almost entirely wetland. I don't know if eventually they'll be, donating it or something like that. There's gotta be some other thing that's gonna happen after the fact here, but I'm sure that Richard could speak to that.
All right.
And
Richard, anything to add?
Yeah, it's Buzzards Bay Coalition that's buying that back lot and gonna preserve it as open space in perpetuity. So they're just cutting out the upland that has frontage on Tucker Road from the back piece, so they can conserve that back piece. So we're not creating any additional buildable lots. It's just a buildable lot on Tucker Road.
And there is not a house on there now, so there will be.
Oh,
some
it's
coming forward.
farmland right now,
Yeah.
and as far as I know, it'll stay farmland for
Mhm.
the near future.
Okay. Christine, is this the same scenario? I see some mock-ups on the plan.
There were some, yeah, there were some mock-ups. We do have the revised plan. In the in-house, we received it today.
Let me see.
So one of the biggest things, one of the biggest concerns that I had with regard to if you're looking at the mock-up now, there was a note, and I did speak to the surveyor at length about it.
Yeah.
It was not a typical note that we see on plans here. He stood by what he's done, and he took the note off, but basically that absolved him from all. In my opinion, it kind of absolved him from, taking responsibility for the plan. So he verified that the information that he had for the lot in question was done appropriately. Some of the other things were done by GIS and things like that, because that's all he had available to him.
All right, what about the deed description information?
What about the deed description information? So he did take off the information in the middle of lot 2, right? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Or lot, yeah, so that he did take that off as well. I mean, that had no relevance on what we were really doing in this particular case.
Let me see, if additional deed description information is not provided, okay, so. I'm just looking at the note from Ross.
Yeah, I don't have the copy with the notes in front of me. I only have the final revision. Oh, no, I do. Wait a minute, I take that back. You're looking at note 4?
I am looking at Ross's note.
Yeah,
the
okay, so
the endorsement letter. Last line.
the last line of the report that we did. you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, this plan may have been continued. Okay, so we don't need that anymore because I was able to confirm with the surveyor that it's all set.
Okay. All right, good.
Yeah.
All right, sounds good. Any questions of the members? I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion that we approve the A&R as presented.
Motion made by Nick Psychopatis, second. Second by Kevin Estes. Nick,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Kevin Mello,
Yes.
Margaret Sweet,
Yes.
and Chris O'Neill is yes also.
Okay,
think
Richard,
just-
we will put a note in the portal when it's all set and ready to be picked up, okay?
Okay, thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Have a good evening.
You too. Let's see, let me go back to my list here. Release, number 4 on the agenda, release of lots from Performance Covenant RLPC 24-1 Lemire Estates, 2 Serenity Lane, Assessors Map 65, Lot 30-2. Christine.
30 dash. Ross has 30-6 on the, he has 2 on the agenda and 6 on the, let me just see, I'll make sure, 6 on the, comments. It's 30-6 is what it's supposed to be in both places.
Okay.
So it's map 65 lot 30-6. And
Okay.
it is 2 Serenity Lane. You are currently the owner in this particular case is on this evening. This is Ron Oliveira. You have currently released the other lots. This is the last lot that was being held now that we have a non-expiring surety in place. Mr. Oliveira had the right to ask for this lot release. So there is no reason why you cannot do it in this particular case, or that you should be holding it at this point now that he's asked for a release.
Okay.
This is the
Uh,
final lot in the subdivision. We had initially held a different lot, or we were proposing to hold a different lot, and then he had to switch it, and then. So ultimately, this is the last lot. The infrastructure things, we are still holding approximately $71,000. The roadway infrastructure should be finished in the spring when the plants open back up. I don't know if anything else that Ron Oliveira wants to add to this.
Ron?
Yeah, good evening, members of the board. So we have 5 out of the 6 houses up already. We wanted to do, it's a very rocky site, so we're extracting boulders from there. I put up the cash bond that was the figure that was provided by DPW and the board, so I did put up a cash bond. At the time, we didn't discuss releasing the lots because I hadn't started. Now we have 5 out of the 6 houses going up. I have the road scheduled to be paved as soon as the asphalt plants are open. So I think in order to preserve the integrity of the road, get all that heavy work out of the way, get the foundations in, septics in, get all the boulder removal done. So this way, we've already done all the underground electric. So we'd like to start the last house and get it going. So this way, when the road's paved, it's not going to risk, having damage done to it. All the houses will be in and up at that point.
Okay. Christine, from the collector's office, all set?
The collector's office is all set, yes. And we get that information, but that is for, Ross didn't know at the time that is for information only in this particular case. In this particular case, that can be a stop thing on things with like permits or licenses, but it cannot be a stop
On the
thing
A&Rs.
on something like a release.
I was there today. I paid all the taxes and
Yeah.
the upcoming tax bill.
Okay. Any questions of the members? Or from the members? If not, I'll entertain.
I'll make a motion to release.
Motion made by Margaret Sweet,
I'll second it.
seconded by Kevin Mello. Margaret?
Yes.
Kevin Mello?
Yes.
Kevin Estes?
Yes.
Psychopatis?
yes,
And Chris O'Neill is yes also. Thanks, Ron.
So we will get signatures over the next couple of days, and then I will just reach out in the online portal, and then you can come in and get the release for recording at the Registry of Deeds. Okay?
Thank you very much, members of the board. I appreciate it. Have a good evening.
Yep, you too. Number
you.
5, discussion, zoning article for Springtown meeting, Article 31, frontage and accessory dwelling units.
Okay, so the first one is the frontage, and like at the last meeting, when we did Article 30, which was a summary for minimum lot size, this is another one where we had some inconsistencies, so there's gonna be 4 of these, I believe, that are gonna happen, so this is just the next one, and basically, we're not changing anything with regard to this. I'm gonna just bring all 4 together as the package before the Springtown meeting. And it's just to make sure that they're consistent and that they match the zoning map as it stands now. So basically, what we did was we made sure that we again have every zoning district accounted for in this, and then we made sure that all of the language for all of them are exactly the same. So if it says it says it's 50 foot of frontage or whatever it's supposed to be, it's clearly spelled out in this summary section, because what we found is some commissioners look at the summary sections and then some people look at the regular complete section, and the information is not the same in both. So basically, we're not changing anything other than the formatting and making sure we have all of the information in both places. There was some thought given to taking out the summaries, but it seems to be that the summaries were put in for a reason, so I don't necessarily want to take those out. But we've got to make sure that they're right, because people have found ways to go around some of the requirements. So going forward, what I would say is anytime you make changes, or any future board makes changes in in a zoning district, in the regular bylaws, you know, the regular part of the zoning bylaw, that they also make sure to go over each one of these summaries, sections to make sure it matches there as well.
Yeah, just makes a lot of sense, cleans it right up. Looks good.
I don't know if anybody has any concerns, but he gives you, so each time I have him give you the original, he gives you the markup so you can kind of see exactly what we're doing, and then the final cleaned up version so you can actually look at it and see exactly what we're going to do. And then we also give you a summary of what we found throughout the bylaws. Is just that's just our check that we're doing in-house each time as well.
Christine, I have a question. I guess it's the
Sure.
summary I'm looking at. You have question marks and it says not in red, not in, not in, not in.
Because it
was
wasn't actually in, so it wasn't in the zoning bylaw of, in the actual chapter, it wasn't in. So like the first question mark you see is Article 16 for limited business.
Right.
It's not spelled out there, but yet it is in the summary.
Okay,
So ultimately, we're gonna have to bring those forward too, to make sure that they're consistent when the time comes.
Okay.
We'll go through, you know, as we're going through each one of those.
yeah,
What would the board think about at the beginning of the summary, a statement that says any discrepancy between the bylaw and the summary is superseded by the bylaw? Just in case we miss something, just in case future boards don't change the summaries, we insert some language like that. That
I can get some
default.
guide, I can get some guidance from Brian if you want to pursue that a little bit.
I think it may be a simple
Yeah.
pursuit. You know, not that we're
Catch-all.
gonna do it again, but it would have prevented this problem or any problems that you've had because of this.
Right. Well, because it's funny, last week when we were putting all of these together too, we were talking about the language. We don't want to necessarily call them, they're not called summary sections. They are summary sections, but like it just says minimum, you know, minimum
right.
front lot size, or just says frontage or something. So we were looking for some other word instead of summary. So we have given some thought to it. Because it's kind of, yeah, confusing. So, I mean, maybe there could be like a blanket statement at the top of each one as well.
I think that could just save some trouble down the line.
Right.
Yeah, if there's a change made at town meeting and this isn't updated right away. It's not a bad idea, Kevin, just as a little catch-all.
So
I
what
think
I've
it's a
been doing is we're bringing each one of these things forward to you, but then, you know, probably the end of February, beginning of March, we'll bring the whole package that'll be going
Okay.
before town meeting like we normally do. So I can come up with the wording with town council and then just put that in them, and then you can look at that when you do your actual public hearing on all of these.
Mhm. Yep. Any questions? Looks good for my house.
Good.
Okay, and then the second one was the accessory dwelling unit. So it's funny, I think the discussion from the last meeting went extremely well. What I've done is I've summarized it and I've given it to town council, so he's now kind of developing the bylaw based on the information, and I'm sure we'll have questions. Probably hopefully by the next meeting or so. You know, anything that we may have missed, but it's interesting that each one of you had said how positive it went, and I had gone into that office and said how positive the meeting went. To have the discussion about it was really thoughtful and engaging, and it was well thought out. So we all felt the same way about it, which is, you know, that's a good thing.
Yeah, not bad.
We will bring that one to you as well.
All right.
I don't know if anybody had any other thoughts about it or anything like that, or if any, you know, after the fact, if you were thinking anything else you wanted to mention about it, but
I personally, I think we covered the more important pieces of it. I'm looking forward to seeing what Brian comes up with. So I'm sure it'll cue a few more questions, but I think we're pretty close.
very good.
Yeah, and in my 10 years on this board, I've got to say it was the single best meeting that I've been a part of. Really, really was, and I think it's a lot of it has to go with, the board and how we're working the way we should be right now.
Yeah.
So hopefully we can continue that.
I agree, Kevin. Thank you.
Agreed.
Yeah, it was a good meeting.
Cheers for us.
Hip hip hooray.
All right, anything else under that, Christine?
Nope, that's all I have for that.
All right, number 6 is minutes.
So the minutes, I have the minutes. There were no changes to them. I don't know if there's anything else that you would like to add. The woman who does the minutes for us, our consultant, had reached out after, so she lives in town as well. She also found the session on the accessory dwelling units extremely informative and very well thought out. She reached out after the fact to say about it, just as a regular resident, what she saw of it. So I thought that was very positive too.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's
she
very
actually
nice.
introduced herself to me at dinner down at the sail off.
Oh,
It
okay,
was nice-
okay,
nice to meet her.
that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah, so yeah, it was fabulous, actually. I mean, that's the first time that she's done that and it was really good. It was a
Yeah,
positive
and
thing.
These are very comprehensive, so it's nice to be able to go back and make notes after the meeting, because sometimes you have different thoughts while you're actually online.
Right.
So that's good. All right, so motion on the minutes.
Make a motion that we accept and
Accept.
file.
Motion by Nick Cyclepatis to accept and file the minutes, seconded by Kevin Estes. Nick,
Yes.
Kevin,
Yes.
Kevin Mello,
Yes.
Margaret Sweet,
Yes,
and Chris O'Neill is yes, thank you. Correspondence.
Correspondence, we have from the city of Fall River, and we have from the zoning board of appeals in city of Fall River, we have public notice from Freetown regarding a solar farm, and from the city of New Bedford, a notice of public hearing from the planning department there. I don't see anything unusual with any of these. I don't know if you have any questions.
I have none. We don't need to file those, do we?
So those are what you normally acknowledge and file.
Okay,
Motion to acknowledge and file.
made by Kevin Estes, second,
Second by Kevin
Right.
Mello.
Kevin Mello, Kevin Estes,
Yes.
Kevin Mello,
Yes.
Margaret Sweet,
yes,
Nick Cyclepatis,
Yes.
Chris O'Neill is yes.
Okay, so what I would say to you on the minutes, it should have been to approve them. So you
Sorry.
want that motion to approve, right?
A motion to approve the minutes
Right.
and file.
So
them.
that
I
was
don't know
by
if we
Nick
actually filed.
Cyclepatis and Kevin Estes.
Right.
Right, we just got the language backwards.
Okay.
Do it again.
It can't hurt. You can just do the roll call vote again to cover it.
All right, for the minutes.
I revise my motion to accept them, correct?
Accept and approve or approve.
Accept and approve.
Motion is made to, well, first of all, is a motion to revise,
The motion.
right? Let's approve the motion to revise.
Okay,
That's made by Nick Cyclepatis. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Kevin Estes. Nick,
Yes.
Kevin Estes,
Yes.
Kevin Mello,
Yes.
Margaret Sweet,
yes,
and Chris O'Neill is yes to revise the motion on acceptance of the minutes. Go ahead, Nick.
so then next
Um,
we did the correspondence, and now last we have the number 8.
Yeah. We just did the correspondence. So number 8.
Okay, right.
Yeah. So go ahead, number 8.
So the zoning board of appeals, we do not have any decisions or legal ads with regard to that. I will be covering the meeting on Wednesday evening. Michelle will not be available. So there are 3 items on the agenda for that night that have been continued from previous meetings.
That's in person at town hall, correct?
That's in person at town hall. Yeah, yeah. Um,
Okay, any subcommittee meetings?
I had a subcommittee meeting and we had to go into executive session. Unfortunately, community preservation was one of the ones targeted. And so everybody knows that went to the Attorney General. And we have so many days to answer it, which we did answer it. And as far as the other things, we're still working on a couple of other things to be agreed upon. So our next meeting would be in February. One of the things, of course, is the waterways. That's not done yet. Okay. We had given money for Russell's Mills that got resolved because we had a little problem in how the restriction was written. So the town of Dartmouth has to now be I guess very cautious, not cautious, but we have to write up all these covenants that we do, that the town of Dartmouth is the property that they're the ones that own the property. Okay, and so that was one of the problems with Russell's Mills Road. That's resolved. And that was about it.
Any other meetings?
I had them.
I have the Serped coming up, and charter review, we actually had we had cleaned up what we needed to discuss in this last meeting, so it was actually a little bit much more productive than the prior meetings. So we've got another one of those this week also. So I'm hoping that maybe 2 or 3 more meetings left, and we can report out the charter changes. The discussion on appointment versus election came up again. The motion that was made originally back in, I think, August, I may be wrong, but I think it was around August, to vote on whether we change certain boards to appointed versus elected. That motion was rescinded and it was revoted because they have 2 new members on the Charter Review Committee. So we were able to discuss that once again. I was not the lone dissenting vote this time on a couple of them, but for the majority, I think I was. And I did let the Charter Review Commission know that I bring anything I have there, I bring back to this committee to get your opinions and input from it. And they have not chosen to make the planning board a appointed board. But there are others that they chose to vote for appointment. So we'll see how that finally comes out of that committee, and if it makes its way to town meeting on a warrant. So we'll not a warrant, but the charter review, I guess. So we'll see what happens there. But I've got Serped and charter this week also. No other
I did listen to a Serped meeting regarding the pathways and the shared use bike path that will go across, that they're proposing to go across Dartmouth.
Mhm.
Again, I was just a listening member. That committee is presenting before the select board to get approval to go after some grant money. Serped was the lead on it initially. They've kind of changed a little bit, and the cities and towns that it's going through are each doing their own thing at this point and bringing them all together. So I don't know how much, but the select board office is kind of going over that now with all of that. But I did sit on the meeting, and there are plans. If anybody wants to see it, you can let me know in the office. I can show them to you. But I think that they're also up on the website, and I think they'll probably be on the select board on the select board page at some point too, or on the Pathways Committee page.
And planners report.
So for the planners report, the only thing I was going to tell you, other than anything else we've went over tonight, is that the next technical reviewer meeting is scheduled for next Tuesday morning. We do have 2 proposals that have reached out to us. We don't have plans in one of the cases, we do in the other. I will send those out to you in advance, or I will have Ross send them out when we send out the agenda on Wednesday. We will send them to you as well, so in case you have any comments or questions that you want to get back to us in preparation for that meeting, so that we can ask them. One of them is the Dunkin' Donuts down on at the intersection with Reed Road. They're doing some changes to their parking lot. They had come before and done a couple of things inside, and now they're doing some more outside work. And then the other one, I don't know if that's gonna just go by the wayside or not, so I'll keep you posted on all of that.
You know, Christine, one thing on that is, I was at a Dunkin' Donuts on Kempton Street, sorry for the rustling. And went around the back of the building and I noticed that the container, there's a container there. And it's almost become a permanent structure. It's part of refrigeration. I'm not sure if it was ever on the plan to include that section of the building. It's not a projection of the building. It's a separate container.
Mhm.
And I noticed that in a couple of these places that got to keep an eye on those.
Right, so as part
where-
of that becomes zoning enforcement.
Yeah,
So, yeah, I can tell you what's going on our sites as you're doing them, but once they go to enforcement, that's through the building department.
right.
Um,
Yeah, because that really does, it just changes the whole plan, changes the whole lot and movement and everything around it. Can't
Right.
find that.
Right, well, that's, I mean, yeah, there are many different issues associated with some of these things that go on after the fact. So getting people to come back in for amendments to their site plan helps in some cases, and then in other cases, right, it becomes an enforcement thing.
Right.
So if something occurs that's not according to approval and plan, then it comes back to site plan review or review by the planning board for under some purview.
So
Is
what
that
we
an opportunity for us to take a look only at what we're discussing, or to kind of clean up the whole thing and say, hey, wait a second?
So what we've done in most cases up till now is when we do an amendment to something like that, we look at what they're trying to do on the site, and we seem to focus in those particular areas rather than, because we don't want to ultimately, a business who's willing to come before you and kind of make things better
Yep.
is a positive. A few times, some of the projects that have come before technical reviewer, some of the departments have gone, way off to extremes about things, and then ultimately, applicants end up pulling the application altogether and they don't go through. So, I always kind of err on the side of caution with that, and work with them with their amendment so that they'll keep coming and we can keep improving things a little bit at a time.
Okay.
rather
Question.
That being said, if they've been vacant for 2 years or more, then it's a different thing. So we did have a developer reach out today. I am going to go over the plans with him later this week to go over 2 different properties on State Road. I mean, so ultimately, when they come before you, they were parking plans and way back when, and then another one was an amendment to a site plan. I will remind you at that time to kind of keep in mind, again, we're getting businesses into vacant places. We're not necessarily changing a use. We're not doing something. So we're going to try to work with them a little bit, because any improvement we get is going to be better than where we are now. I don't want them to ultimately leave it. We've lost some big things. I mean, we've lost some big things as a result of, big opportunities. So
Good.
that's what I'd say.
I think that's very smart,
Yeah, thank you.
really. When things were developed years ago, and the parking plans and everything. Sometimes you cannot adjust that to what's there today.
Right.
And, you know, if it's a good site and a good business, we should welcome them with open arms to the town of Dartmouth.
Right, well, especially we have so many we have
Right.
vacancies across the board. And the other thing that we're finding now too, I know we answered some questions for the select board office last week. With regard to some of the service roads into some of these shopping plaza areas and things like that. Cause some of them have such major potholes and whatever. So chasing down, the ownership and what happened after the fact and what they agreed to at the time, because people just assume if it's a roadway and you're driving on it, that it's DPW, and then they're not DPW's responsibility in most cases. So, and I think that those things are gonna becoming, more of an issue before the town, because they're kind of all at their end of life time period, I mean, anything that was built in the 80s is 40 years old now. I mean, they've well exceeded. So I'd say drive with caution on some of them too, because there are some potholes that are eating up people's cars.
Got that right. Okay.
That's all I have.
Okay, I just wanted to, I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. The meeting with, the meetings that we had down at the sewer treatment plant, I know that we had probably a 15-point plan from the DPW. I'm just not sure if you've heard any more about the, where they are in that, requesting work for studies and money for studies and.
I do not know where they are. I did get your question last week, so I have reached out regarding that. I didn't reach out till today, so till later today about that particular question, but I don't have any updates from them at this point. We haven't had any other meetings on it. I'm sure now, like as the year is moving on. I know that one of the things that I'll be covering on Wednesday night is something that DPW has been working on with regard to capacity and things like that. So maybe I'll get some more insight at that meeting as well.
Yeah, I think since every board member was invited to that facility to do the tour and listen to the chairman explain exactly what they think their needs are. And from my knowledge, I have not been invited to sit on the long-term planning committee. I'm not sure if any of my fellow members have. Anyone?
No,
No. Okay, so nobody from planning has been asked to sit on the long-term planning committee. So I'm not sure when or where we'll get our updates from the DPW on the long-range plan for the facility. But it was, it was quite important when we met back in the summer, and I'm sure the importance hasn't waned at all. I'm just curious to find out exactly where we are in their plan to get things done down there.
did you read the article in Dartmouth Weekly? I think it was last week.
No.
Well, there was an article about the sewer plant, in Dartmouth Weekly. You can pull it up.
I'll bring it up
Yep.
tonight. And actually, if I can make it shareable, I'll send it to everyone. Yeah. And then,
Right.
go ahead, Margaret.
It should come right up.
Okay. And one of the other things that I forgot to mention when we get to the subcommittees was one question that had come up in one of the charter review meetings was the process, and I think we've discussed this at least once, the process to make changes to fees that we charge or the building department charges or the DPW charges, assesses, whatever the case may be, in trying to figure out what that process is, because I can't find, the only thing that I could find was that when certain changes are put forward, the only process that I can see is that in the town charter is that it goes to the town clerk. It's posted on a bulletin board somewhere. And if no one objects or has a problem with it, in 10 days, it becomes the law of the land. So I had a problem with that process and it made them aware of it, but I would hope that through that committee, I can get a little bit more clarity on what that process should be. I think one of the problems that we have in town is that we're not as we're not shedding enough light on some of the things that are going on. And I think, you know, when you make changes to fee structures and there are stakeholders in town that have to pay those fees and the increase in those fees, or, you know, say in this particular, in one of these cases, it was a bond for drain layers. And the requirement changed. It was voted by the DPW. It changed from a year to 2 years, but we had bonds in place in my office. So it's kind of a scramble for a few clients to try and get their 1-year bond transferred to a 2-year bond. And some of them had paid them already, and it kind of turned into a thing. But if we had some time, if we had, you know, we're going to make this change effective, you know, in the next 6 months, you know, or, you know, we only make changes June 1st and December 1st, you know, something like that, then it gives the stakeholders, in my opinion, you know, a little time to figure out what the changes are going to be, number one, so they can be reported on. And then number two, they can make their own plans to make sure they coincide with what the requirements are. So I'll look for some clarity when it comes to issues like that on the Charter Review Commission. That is about it from me. Any other issues, questions, concerns?
Don't have questions or concerns, but if you're okay with it, I'd like to talk just real briefly about a committee meeting, not a subcommittee meeting, for informational purposes only.
Yep.
As you guys know, I'm a member of the broadband committee, and we've chosen a company to come in and do a feasibility study to see if it makes sense for the town to offer its own fiber-based, symmetric, high-speed fiber-based, not cable-based, internet access to the homes. And the website is open, and there's a questionnaire posted there. The results of this questionnaire are very important. So I encourage everybody who's watching and my fellow board members to get the word out, to go to dartmouthfiber.com, fill the questionnaire out, very brief, and you can fill it out once as a resident, and then once as a business owner if you own a business. And this information will ultimately go to the select board to, and the more responses that we have, obviously, the more credence we can put to the results. So it's vital that we get a lot of as many responses as possible.
I sent mine in, Kev.
Thank you.
Yep. Question for you. I know it said something about using Route 6, the Route 6 corridor. The initial layout.
Well, we don't even have a layout yet. I mean,
Okay.
this is the beginning of a process.
Okay.
And this right now we're assessing how many people would take be interested in a bandwidth that is higher quality, faster, less expensive, with better customer service. I know
So
it
this
sounds,
is totally separate from what DCTV is doing? Is that correct?
well, Peter Chase is on our committee.
Okay,
um,
okay.
But I don't know what DCTV is doing, if they're.
Well, there were a couple of workshops last week or the week before. Maybe that's what Chris.
Oh,
is
no,
referring-
that's we had a workshop. Yeah, that
Okay,
was,
okay.
that was about this,
Okay, okay.
the broadband committee.
Mhm.
As opposed to DCTV, although Peter was probably at each one of them.
Oh, okay.
I
And
attended
chairing.
those. He was very
Was-
informative, the gentleman who came down.
Yep. Yep. So, go to the website, dartmouthfiber.com. If you haven't already, make sure all of your friends, know about it. And that way we can get some good results and take a look at, how feasible it might be to build our own fiber out. And it would, the premise of this is the local network throughout the town would be ours. And it would be, again, a fiber network to the house. And then you would have the ability over our local leg to choose one of, let's say, 4 or 5 providers that actually get you to the internet. And that way there's a measure of competition. And the hardest part, the local loop, would be owned by the town, and there would be no profit incentive, which is vital. Once you get the local loop taken care of, then getting out to the carriers is easy.
Are there grants available, Kev, to handle the layout and the cost of the layout?
I know there are grants out there and there's some money out there. We're that's part of the study. And that's the reason we've hired this company to help us with, they do it often and have done a lot of work in our state, as well as even with various entities that are near us.
Are there towns in Mass that have done it already with this company?
Yes.
Good.
Yeah. Now that this is the feasibility stage.
Yep. Yeah.
I don't know if they've gone beyond, used the same vendor for general contracting or general managing the whole process.
Mhm.
Has Westport done this?
Uh,
Already?
I know that Westport is working with the same company.
Okay.
That's good. Competition is always good.
That's the idea, and we don't have a lot of it right now, and we're all paying for it.
We don't have any.
In more ways than one, not just money, just level of service, quality of service, and then cash.
Right. All right. Anything else?
I have a quick question.
Shoot.
As far as the progress we made at the last meeting with ADUs and so on, where are we with that? When do we pick that back up? Not that I want to start that tonight, but I'm just curious. We had a lot of momentum last time. Where are we going with it?
So
Yeah,
I've given the information to Brian Cruz, who is our town council. And he is putting something together, so I would imagine within the next couple of meetings, you'll have it back. He had said to give you his thoughts. That's what he had said the night we had spoken to him, so he has the information. So I'm sure he'll have questions, additional questions of you, and then you'll have additional questions of him or input as you see something, but that is moving ahead.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
That's it. Okay. I'll
We barely
entertain
made it
motion.
to 8 o'clock, guys.
Beautiful.
Reward for a great meeting last time. Motion to adjourn.
Motion made by
Second.
Kevin Estes, seconded by Kevin Mello. Kevin?
Yes.
Kevin Mello?
Yes.
Margaret Sweet?
Yes.
Psychopatis?
Yes.
And Chris is yes. Awesome.
Your
Thank you,
your
guys.
next meeting
right.
is February 5th, okay? Thank you, everyone.
Okay, really quick. I will let you know, Christine, next week. I tentatively have a conflict on that day, but it may change, and I will know prior to the end of next week if that's going to change. So I'll give you notice.
Okay, and we
All
don't
right.
have any public hearings scheduled, so that we can manage with 4 people if we have to, just fine.
Okay. All right,
Okay.
great. Thank you so much, all. Good night.